So isn't it so nice to meet you again and again and again? We meet every once in a while, yeah, but we've known each other for such a long time.
Oh
And
yes, from
honestly,
secondary school.
it's a privilege. You're one of those notable women who are very impactful in different ways. Yeah, I'm sure you hear that all the time. So, so I'm glad to have you on our writers column, and we call that column for the magazine "Writers in Shining Armour."
Oh,
Now,
wow.
why did I choose that? Because I know that
I'm looking for my Armour.
yes, our writers are writers who write inspiring words, building up words, right? We don't write frivolous things. So, like you have knights in shining armor, we're there to rescue the world, and the world at this time needs rescuing, as you will agree. Many people are looking to people like you and I for leadership and for inspiration, which is why we invited you here to share with us about your book, known as Up You. Now, I'm very proud to be part of that book in my own way. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very proud about your story in the book. So I'd like you to share with the rest of us what is in that book. But before you get to the book itself, being an author myself, might I add, a severally published author. Yeah? So I know.
Take the accolades, take the accolades.
Thank you. Might I want to mention that authors have a certain mindset. People who write books are not your run-of-the-mill kind of person, because it's not something like you want to do randomly. It's not like I want to buy a dress or learn how to bake a cake. To sit down and have the discipline, indeed the desire to write a book, takes a certain kind of person. So tell us, how would you describe yourself?
Hi, everyone, first of all. My name is Ezinne, and I'll describe myself as a restless person, a multi-talented human being who wants to go home empty, a dreamer, a dream chaser.
I like that one.
Well, which one?
Yes. I like that.
When you dream, then you chase it down and it becomes your reality. If you don't chase it down, then, it doesn't make sense to even dream in the first place. So yes, that's who I am, but as I grow older, as I'm growing older, I'm learning to be, true to myself, to follow my real core instincts and do the things that are wholesome, to borrow your word, things that are wholesome. I'm learning to lay down a legacy. I think that's what it is, a legacy, something that will outlive me and will also allow people to perch on my shoulders and see further than I saw.
Excellent. So we're talking about return on impact. Yes. Return on income or return on investment, sorry. So
exactly.
Return on impact. Yeah.
Exactly. If you've walked this earth and the earth has been good to you, then you have no choice really but to give back, so that those coming after you will not start digging foundation like you did. They will at least start from lintel, or first floor, because you have given them the clues to help them jump the hurdles that you fell into. So basically, that's what drives me right now. I tell people that I'm taking my legend. I'm looking for my legend because I need to happen. I need to happen to a lot of people, because there's a lot of me that is wholesome that people need to also take from. Because the truth about this thing is, creativity is, if you give it out, you get it back. And you don't get back. You don't get back what you give. You get filled up with more. So you keep outpouring, and
so you become you're limitless. You become limitless. I often talk about. I share with people about people who are considered remarkable. What makes somebody remarkable? It's just the fact that you've reached out and you've owned your space. You occupy your space, and you're constantly giving. You are boundless. Yeah.
Consistency in giving out goodness.
Absolutely.
Good vibes. Absolutely. Good thoughts. Good deeds. That's what makes you a remarkable human being.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to write a book?
Well,
And
I
why
didn't
now?
decide to write a book. I didn't decide to write a book. The book decided that I will write it.
I like
The
that.
book chose me, because I've been working on a book in my field forever. I've been writing an interior design book forever. That ought to have been my first book. But this book chose me because in 2014, I was invited to come and give a speech to a group of women in Houston, Texas. So I went, and what I talked about was you. I shared about my life. I shared things that I had done that had taken me from point A to point B. I shared about obstacles that I had overcome. I shared about the 12 points that are in this book. How you have to stand up, sign up, soak up, shake up, show up, pick up, stack up, sit up, stock up, shoot up, scale up, and serve up. And it resonated with the women. And there were all kinds of women, from the senators in the US to the homemakers who came from Kenya to the politicians who came from Nigeria. It was a wild house. It was so well received. And at the end of my talk, I had everybody link hand. I mean, we were over 200 women in that session. I had everybody link hand, and we sang, "We all need someone to lean on me." It was quite an emotional one, And then by the time we were done, people were coming up to me and saying, "Who are you?
I like that.
Where have you been?" I'm telling you, who are you? Where have you been? You have a voice. Why are you hiding your voice? Where have you been? Africa needs you. And I'm like, Africa needs me. Wow, that's a new one, So, and I now said, okay, I shared it in a lot more places. I shared it in another conference in South Africa. It resonated. I brought it home to Sheraton in Nigeria. It resonated. And I said to myself, then a lot more people need to hear this. So I set out to make it a book.
And being a book, it will reach a whole lot more people.
Exactly. So the idea was, let us make this thing available to a wider audience, let them read it and all of that. In fact, but for COVID, we were taking this book to the UN last year. But then the whole contingency, Nigerian contingency, had to cancel, because COVID came up, and so we couldn't go. We were taking the book to go launch it over there for all the women to see it and read it and all of that. I didn't write this book to make money per se. I wrote this book to teach, to educate, to let the light come on in someone's head, because someone said to me, one of the amazing things someone said to me was, someone who got this book, he said, "This is not a novel.
Say it again?
This is not a storybook." He said, "This is not a novel. This is not a storybook."
No?
She said, "This is not a storybook. This is a book you read with your notebook next to you. You take notes and you meditate. Irrespective of where you are in life, you will find yourself here. If you've not yet made up your mind to stand up, then stand up is for you. If you stood up and you're running, you might just see yourself in stock up. If you've actually gotten exactly, if you're even successful, you might just see yourself in what? Scale up. Or if you've scaled up already, you find yourself in serve up. Because ultimately, when all is done or said and done, if the sum total of your life is about yourself, then you haven't lived. Yes, you haven't lived. The reason why you were brought here was so that you can impact a whole lot more people. Because, sorry, I have to take you back to the Bible. God said,
no sorry there. No sorry there at all.
Jesus said, what I have done, the works I've done, if you're my follower, you will do more than that. Yes. So if we're still here in 2021 and we're being impacted by the works that Christ did when he was here, what more you now that you have technology and all of that at your beck and call? We should use it and get the works further into very many places.
Absolutely.
So ultimately, when you work very hard and attain the UPU life and scale up and you begin to make money even when you're sleeping, the next thing is automatically you serve up. You begin to serve humanity by the knowledge that you found.
Which is the whole idea of making the money, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's
a very
the whole essence of
important
writing
message.
this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because if you're making money for money's sake, you're just wasting your energy. You'll be empty at the end of the day. They call it's called vanity.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make money, yes, vanity upon vanity is making money for money's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you can say you have money or you can buy all the nice things on earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's vanity. It's empty. It doesn't give you satisfaction.
Yeah.
But if you make money and you know that, hey, there are destinies that are tied to this money that you're making,
mm-hmm.
you go to sleep at night and say, thank you, Lord.
Yes, then it becomes meaningful, right? The whole thing becomes meaningful, because life without meaning is quite empty, isn't it?
Oh, dear, it is.
Right. So I didn't mention earlier that you are the CEO of Rosemary's, the soft furnishing company, right?
Oh, yes.
So how has your experience as an entrepreneur in Africa, in Nigeria in particular, how has that influenced your book? How has that influenced your book?
You know, my joy is that you proofread this book. So you actually know a lot about this book. I didn't hold back in writing it. I said it as it was.
Mm-hmm.
I call what I have been doing in the last 22 years in the trenches. Because I just found myself in the trenches and I'm digging. I'm digging every day to dig out myself. You know? Yeah. And it's almost as if everything in this country is throwing you back. You know, it's like you're digging and you're putting out the sand and you're like, okay, I'm coming up. And then someone from the back is just pouring them right back for you, pouring it right back, you know? And then if you're not careful, you might just say, put down your digger and say, I'm not digging again.
Throwing the towel.
I've told myself, you know, we will jump on the one they poured back and keep digging, you know? So it looks like entrepreneurship in Nigeria looks like you take 2 steps forward, 10 steps backwards. You know, because
say that again.
I mean, if it's not NEPA holding you today, as in, yeah, it will be for like in my own case, the artisans you work with, a different kettle of fish. Or, geez, the government itself. They come with all manner of taxes. All manner of taxes. I mean, there was one day I just put my hand on my chin and said, do they want us to just close shop? That day they came, brought one paper to me and said, I should pay for the setback. You know, setback, when you're building a house, you let some setback where cars can park. They actually brought me a bill. I should pay for setback where people park. And I'm like, what kind of country is this? You know, and then all of this tells on the final cost of
your product. Absolutely.
And so the consumer is the person who bears the brunt. Because when I'm trying to find the cost of one item in my repertoire, I have to put into everything that goes into it. I went into initially I wasn't even pricing right, but I had to go to LBS to learn how to price. And then you see, so the cost of going to LBS is also cost of production.
Advancement.
Exactly. Yeah. Cost of the taxes I'm paying, the fact that I'm generating my own NEPA, you know, the fact that, come on, for you to even get the artisans to work now, you have to provide accommodation for them and at least provide one meal.
Okay, so let me interrupt you there. You know, to digress just a little bit, you know, we've complained over and over about the lack of skill and the quality of our staff or human resource. Now, don't you think that being an entrepreneur yourself and the mindset of an entrepreneur, we should see that in Nigeria as gaps to be filled? For instance, if you don't find skilled artisans, is there any facility or training for them? If you don't find, you know, things like that, could there be gaps that are just begging to be filled?
I am working, I'm in collaboration with a gentleman now and some other persons that he put together. It was actually his idea, but he got me on board. And what we're doing now is creating a school to train the artisans.
Absolutely. It's long overdue.
Because we need to start from somewhere. It's also something that, like, there was a time I told someone, I said, why don't we register house helps?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yes.
And train them.
Domestic stuff. That's being
Exactly.
done. That's being done. Because at the end of the day, you and I want quality and are ready to pay for it.
Do you understand?
Yes,
So that,
for peace of
if
mind.
that area of your life is taken care of, then you can focus on doing the other things. So
Absolutely.
yes, we're working on that now. We've gotten the website up, and I think we're going to launch very soon. And then so we'll be calling for artisans to come register with us, and then they will get lectures. They'll be trained on how to do their job excellently, and they'll be trained that that they become entrepreneurs themselves.
That's what they are. That's what they are essentially.
They don't understand that because they have this attitude of Madam sell, Madam doesn't sell, Madam go pay. Yeah, but if you realize that you're working for yourself and that you are company ABC, then you output better, and so you get paid better.
That's the truth of the matter.
And then we can stop all this
changing up and down
that we have, and all of them running up from they're just speculating around the same thing. I mean, if you find the person you found in Rosemary's today, if you go to Yugi's home tomorrow, you find that the person has resumed there.
That's the truth.
It's just the same people just going around the whole.
So maybe a different system would sort that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. So in your book, you describe some personal experiences, in some great depth, right? And do you think you overcame those experiences because of your nature, or because of the steps you took, you described in the book, or was it just sheer providence?
First of all, I would say that the grace of God helped me to overcome. And when you now take away the grace of God, I would say it's because of the steps that I took. You see, everything in life has a process and certain procedures that it will bow to. The idea of laws and what you have to do to make the laws come into effect.
Yes.
Most times, I say to people that they study the Bible and they don't apply it. Because the Bible, apart from being a spiritual book, is a book of laws. Do this for this to happen. Yeah? But most times we spiritualize it so much that we miss the laws.
And take no action.
Yes, seeding time, harvest time. So you must seed for you to have harvest. So in overcoming adversity, it's a very, very, very good book in that Bible, Job, for you to see what to do to overcome adversity. And those are the steps that I took in overcoming adversity. In fact, recently...
And that worked for you.
Yes,
let me take that further, right? Could somebody be so overwhelmed by the situation, that they can't do anything for themselves and require an intervention? So the question of standing up, stepping up and all of that, that they're actually physically or even mentally or emotionally unable to without an intervention.
You see, nobody can stand up for you.
So standing up is more of an emotional thing.
You must stand up for yourself. First of all, you must stand up for yourself. Then when you have declared that I'm standing, someone can intervene for you. Most times when you give people fish, they don't bother learning how to fish. When you teach them how to fish, then they go out fishing. If they don't get fish and you had plenty fish, then you can give them some of your own fish. At least they understand the process of fishing. And one day they will get lucky and catch fish.
Beautiful.
But when you wake up and say, let me stand up for you, there is no such thing. That decision.
So you don't believe that somebody can be so battered in life, right, that they can't even see a way to stand up?
What I'm saying is that we need to teach this person who is so battered in life. We'll first give you the teaching, give you the hope, give you the lifeline, so that you will be able to say, I stand up. If you don't want it for yourself, if you're not hungry about it, no, you won't stand for long.
Excellent.
The very first,
that's the point. That's
the
the point I
very
wanted to
first
make.
problem or challenge that comes your way, you collapse again and you hope that Ebere will come by and pick you up.
Excellent.
And then before long,
it's important.
Entitlement enters.
I like that one. That's an everyday occurrence. Entitlement, yes.
Yeah.
That sense of entitlement.
The person after says, "Oh, so why didn't you pick me up? Didn't you see that I was on the ground?" Because you stood up for him.
You didn't answer my call.
Exactly.
Like you owe them something. That's life, unfortunately.
So you understand? So I always like to give people, I teach you and I give you reasons and I show you why you should stand up for what you want.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Right. So in your book, you refer to the Bible a lot. And as you know, this community, this Wholesome Inspirations, is a faith-based, publication, as well as hub. Faith-based to the extent that we demonstrate our faith by practicalizing all the things we do. It's not a feel righteous, do nothing sort of place. It's a place where we, as you said earlier, you actually practice what you read and study from scripture, right? So how has your faith influenced your work, your journey as an entrepreneur, and how has faith influenced the writing of this book?
It's all been faith all along, because honestly, I set out on my entrepreneurship journey with 22,000 naira.
Yes, that's in the book, guys. Buy that book.
Yeah. 22,000 naira. Who does that? All found everywhere, heaven and earth, any bank, under my bed, anywhere you like, go and look, all found 22,000 naira. And a simple prayer. Father, Lord, please help me to make 22,000 naira every 30 days.
So you were specific in your prayer.
Yes. I'm sure the angels laughed, because 22,000 naira was my last salary. That was the last salary I took. So as a staff in an advertising agency, that 22,000 naira was the reason why I woke up every day and went to work for 30 days in a month to get 22,000 naira.
Wow.
And that was all I knew at that time. And so I was just telling God, you know what? I'm leaving what I know to go into the unknown. But I'm holding on to your hand and going. And I'm trusting you that you will let me also make 22,000 naira in the next 30 days and every 30 days thereafter. And the Lord God Almighty laughed at me. And the first day I stepped out, I made 88,000 naira. And I almost ran mad.
That is amazing.
I almost ran mad, because it was a space of 10 a.m. in the morning and 5 p.m. at a school inter-house sports thingy, Sunnydale School, DRA, Ikeja, and I sold out. I had 88,000 naira cash and an exercise book filled with orders.
Wow.
I ran home and poured all my money on the bed, and I said to my husband, "Come and see money. Have you seen this kind of money in your life before?"
And that was 1 day compared to 30 days.
1 day? You mean a couple of hours compared to 30 days?
Couple of hours, yeah.
Couple of hours compared to 30 days. And then the things I sold, it didn't take me 1 week to get them made. So all found, 8 days work, 7 days of production, 1 day of sale.
Ezinne, I want to say something here, right? To those who are going to listen to this interview or watch this interview later. Here is hardcore, undiluted inspiration. What you've said. By saying these things, somebody can be encouraged. Somebody should be encouraged. That these things are possible. When I say I believe in possibilities, this is the whole idea. So the whole idea about Wholesome Inspirations is to inspire people that it can be done. You can stand up.
Let me tell you why people don't leap more, or why people don't stand up more. They don't believe that they have opportunities.
Yes.
Or that they have options.
Or
that yes. One of the prayers I pray every day is, Father, let me not run out of options in my life. No matter what comes my way, let me have options. So, when you have zeroed your mind and said it's paid employment, for instance, for me or nothing, I can't sell to anybody. I can't talk to strangers. I can't this. I can't that. When you've sold yourself, your internal conversation is key to who you become in this life. When you've sold yourself, I can't, then there's nothing I can do for you. You can't.
Yes. Whether you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't,
If you
you're
say
right.
exactly.
Either way.
Exactly. Nobody was
about
born.
choices, isn't it?
Yes, nobody was born being able to do anything. Inside this book, also, I'm sure I tell the story of how I bought a long mirror and I will stand in front of it and I will begin to practice how to talk to people. I wasn't born confident to go start talking to people. I practiced long and hard. Hello, my name is Ezinne. Damn. How are you? So I went for a while. What of you? Okay. I started practicing conversation starters. And at every opportunity I got, I experimented. It's amazing. People say I have so many friends. That's because I make it a point of duty every day, even up till now, to speak to at least 10 people that I've never spoken to before in my life. Either I meet you on the road and say hello to you and we have a slight conversation, or I randomly call you, or even on Facebook, I like you or I like your profile. I say hello in your messenger, and then we have a chat. Nothing might come out of it. Something may come out of it, but I am going to speak to 10 people every day of my life. Because you know what? When you get stalled in life, it's not that you don't know what to do, it's that you don't have the right relationship to get you out of where you are stuck.
Yes.
Because it is who is going to speak for you when you're not there? Who is going to recommend you when you're not there? Who knows the next person that will get you out of the mess you're in? Or who knows the next person that can deliver your next level? And so you must have
relationships. So you're one relationship away from help, as they say.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I also tell people, simplify things. I don't speak big English. I didn't write this book with big English. I wrote it in a conversational tone so that everybody can understand what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Make things very simple, and then you just it's storytelling. When you say marketing, maybe it gives you headache. Just say I'm telling a story. You're telling a story about the product.
Yeah.
You're telling a story about your life.
That's what it is. And they say that complexity, right, is the bane of execution. So when things are complex, you're hardly going to carry it out or do it. It'll be a put off.
You will even get confused.
True.
You'll get confused.
The simpler it is, the easier it is to execute.
The better and easier it is for someone to jump on it and get it done.
And again, if you're an expert at what you do, you should be able to communicate it in a simple manner. Break it down. Do you understand?
Especially if you love what you do.
If you know what you do as well. You may love it and not know it. So you confuse it. If you know it, you should be able to put that across as simply as possible.
Very convincingly.
Very convincingly. Absolutely. All right. So what are your plans going forward as an author? And with this book?
This book. Should I not? Okay. I'm almost done with the second book. Yes, okay. I'm saying should I not? Okay, so I'm almost done with the second book. So I'm hoping that I can do a mega launch of both books. A massive launch was planned for this book last year, but some acts of God now made us pause. And those acts of God now gave rise to this second book that I'm writing.
I can imagine.
And what did you say, darling?
But I said I can imagine.
Yes.
I can imagine.
So, okay, yeah. So now I'm hoping that by the time I'm done with the second book, I'm hoping that I can achieve that by April, and that COVID would have let up a bit so that we can have a launch, a really nice launch, because I want to feel people. I want to feel people physically, so that we can dance and boogie and then launch the book and everything. So yeah, that's it. And then I'm going to do a book launch, a book tour. I'm going to tour some schools. We form some UpU clubs. We're going to have some UpU ambassadors that we're going to appoint. And then we're going to have some UpU weekends where we get young persons and then we try to teach these things to them early so that they can get these points and then they can use them in also doing their lives and stuff like that. UpU also has a workbook that you can use and read alongside so that you can note the things you want to do and then you can come back and check after the time that you have stipulated whether you achieved them or not. So generally, it's just going to be raising a whole lot of role models, and empowering a whole lot of people. And finally, we are going to be adopting a few people in some secondary schools that we are going to use the proceeds of this book to see to their education.
Excellent.
Yes, please.
Right. So can you just run up a bit? Tell us what the outcome of this book is. If I wanted to read that book, if I was encouraged to buy your book, right? What can I expect to evolve into by the time I'm done? And do you have the book with you? Show us the book, please. Do you have the book with you? Excellent. UpU, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, UpU.
And can you see my dress?
Oh, I should have one of those. My goodness.
Oh, yes. I'm going to send one to you.
You'd better.
This is the UpU dress for the woman of today,
Excellent.
What a reader of my book, what do you expect?
What is the outcome?
Yes, you expect to ask yourself some very deep questions. Questions like, am I on the right track? Am I really living my best life? Is this really the best, or am I just sitting in my comfort zone? Can I be more? Can I do more? Can I think a bit about what will be said about me when I'm no longer here? What legacy am I leaving? So these are the kind of deep questions that you're going to be asking yourself. And you are going to maybe for the first time really ask yourself, because you're going to now start saying, so what are my strengths? It's progressive or successful. It's because Ezinne has learned over the years how to play up on her strengths and just play down on her weaknesses. It doesn't mean that I don't have weaknesses. I do have them, but I so minimize them now, it looks like they are not there anymore.
I like that.
While you keep walking.
I like that trick.
Yes, while you keep walking to over. Yeah, you magnify the big things, the strengths that you have, and then you take care of you take your opportunities as they come. You don't wait to overanalyze them, overkill, overstudy, because while you're doing it, someone is already running with the idea and learning on their own. So as it comes to you, one of the things I
I've lost you there for a minute.
I don't give you all the time on earth. Somebody else doing it. Ebere, can you tell me how many times you heard, oh, that's exactly what I wanted to do?
Oh, over and over. Over and over.
Exactly.
Over and over.
And those people got those ideas first before the people who actually are running with them.
9 out of 10.
So this book is going to force you to examine your life and examine your motives, and then increase your drive and really go for what matters to you.
Well, I think absolutely everybody should buy the book then, because every once in a while, like you said, no matter what stage you are in life, right? Yeah. You need to, even if you're standing up, arise, So take it that notch higher. Yeah. So at every point you are, and you have deep, thinking, thought-provoking things written in the book for each and every person.
And then you'll also see that someone has walked this path before you.
Yeah.
I think the biggest lie of this century that we live in is the lie that you're not supposed to have any challenges. if you're a Christian,
That's
if you're a good
unrealistic.
person, if you're a righteous person. I mean, because if you look at the slant of some prayers, you see that we pray now to accept only good from God, and then we don't want the
we even
challenges.
sing that way. Only good things, yeah.
But you see, as an entrepreneur and as someone living on this planet Earth, it is not possible.
No.
So the earlier you begin to practice for the day of challenge, the better for you. And the steps are documented here. Several challenges that were overcome in several ways, so that you know that it's nothing new to you. Are you broke? I was broke. Do you not know people? I didn't know people. You have no clue how to market. I had no clue how to market. For anything you'd say is wrong with you, it was wrong with me.
So been there, done that, bought the t-shirts.
Exactly. So the 7 C's, no coins, no chrono, no connections, no, I had them. You also had them. You know, we all arrived this town as nobodies. But I'm not sure that Lagos, Nigeria, the world would say today, who are you? Because you've just been able to make some mark. And by God's grace, we'll continue making this mark for all the years that he gives to us.
Amen. That's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because again, we're accountable. Anybody put on us is accountable for your time. Well, accountable for our time. And the Lord will help us to execute our time in a manner that is justifiable, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So any advice for, have you come across any challenges in publishing while publishing this book? Were there challenges in the publishing industry as a whole? What did you face? Or was
I think I worked with the best people. First of all, my book was proofread by Ebere. I mean, that's excellent. And then it was published by a very good publisher. So he did an awesome job, you know, and yeah, he did a very great job. And he's also helping in marketing the book. So yeah, I think for a first time publisher, I didn't run into many problems. Right from onset, I knew I was going to be self-published, so that wasn't a problem. So I knew, yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that's fine. So, any advice for would-be authors, just to wrap up now?
Well, my advice would be,
Mrs. Ezinne, I would like to be an author like you. What would you tell them?
It's doable. Just sit down and begin to write. You know, a lot of people give a lot of thought to writing, and you know, I think they overthink it. Just begin to write. Tell yourself, I'm going to do 400 words or 300 words, as the case may be, every day. Sit down and scribble it. The first few may be trash.
It will be, not me. It will be trash. Yes.
No, I don't want to. I'm not a teacher like you, so I don't want to be harsh. You know, the first, but you've done it. It's not easy to sit down and concentrate and put out 300 words.
Not at all.
So you've done it. Yes. So you've done it, and then you beat yourself in the chest and say, I did it, and then you now keep doing it, and then when you now get that discipline that you must write every day at a certain time.
Scheduling.
You see, I think writing is discipline, really. You have to have the discipline. You have to schedule when you want to write. Yes. Some of us are night people, some of us are morning people, some of us are afternoon people. You find your own time and then say you're going to write. Sit down there and write. Some days nothing came for me. Nothing came for me to write. I will just sit down there for the 1 hour that I said I'm going to use and write. I'll sit down there and read through what I wrote and then trash the ones I want to trash. And then, okay, 1 hour is up, I stand up and I go do something else. But you see, with that discipline, you eventually get it done. And then when you write one that you think you really like, send it to someone and say to the person, what do you think?
What do you think? Feedback.
If you remember, the second book I'm talking about, I sent it to you. I sent you the synopsis. I said, Ebere, be marinating with this next project. So you send it to someone and say, what do you think? And the person gives you a feedback. And then based on that feedback, you know whether you should continue or not. But if you really have the bug to write, then there's nothing else for you to do but to write. Just keep writing.
So some people say they write out of compulsion. Was that your case?
Well, like I said to you, the book chose me, and so it already knew what it wanted me to say. So it was just spilling out. Yeah. But then again, for style, you might have to study a couple of people that you like the way they write, and read up a couple of books that appeal to you, and then decide what style you want to use. Whether you're going to be speaking in third person or first person and all of that. So when you find a style that suits you and one you can flow with, then bingo, you're an author.
I like that. Bingo. Well, it's always a pleasure talking to you because you're so inspiring. Looking at you, one would think that life is always so rosy, and that's what we want. That's what we need at times like this. That can-do attitude, that can-do spirit, that put a smile on it, and that and the willingness to share and encourage. Thank you so much for this. As always, it's been brilliant talking to you. Thank you, Ezinne.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you, Ebere.
Yes.
And you too. God bless you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed myself. Yeah. Bye now.
Don't go away.
I'm not going.